Hey guys, welcome back to my VW videos. So today we are going to be doing the Homelink mirror in the Volkswagen Golf R. So as anybody that knows that buys a Volkswagen, pretty much any model, they do not come with Homelink as one of their options by default in the car. So the only way you can get it is by adding the mirror that has Homelink in it. So Volkswagen sells this mirror as sort of an add-on accessory. They consider it an accessory, not an actual part of the car. So this is the Homelink mirror that was just released for the 2018 Mark 7.5 Golf Rs. So this was not available and it just finally came out. So I did a little, I put my old aftermarket sort of like garage door opener in the car temporarily. But now we have the actual Homelink, which is basically the buttons on the bottom of the rear view mirror. Will be able to open and close your garage door. And of course, it's powered by the car, so when the car is off, nobody can hit the buttons and just open your door. It's only if the car is actually powered on. So that's what it is. So here it is. You can see its part number is 000072548B. That is for a Golf R. Of course, they have multiple mirrors, but now in 2018, they made it simpler because pretty much the Golf Rs come with everything. They have the rain sensing wipers. It has the lane assist cameras and the auto dimming, chromatic mirrors, the compass, everything, except for the Homelink buttons. And so all this does is it's the exact same mirror and it just has the Homelink buttons on it. So let's look at it and see what we got inside here. So if we open it up, there is nothing in here except a mirror. And if we open it up, pretty much looks like the same frameless mirror we have in the car now, except if you look at the bottom here, it has the 3 Homelink buttons, which are pretty much standard with Homelink, right? So you can have 1, 2 garage doors, you can do your lights on the inside of the house, whatever you want. So you have those 2 different things. It still has the little sensor on the back here for the auto dimming mirror. Okay, so everything's pretty much the same. And you notice it's just one single plug here, one single plug and play connection. So you disconnect the old mirror, plug in the new mirror, and then pop it in. And it pretty much looks like, once you get the little trim panels off around it, there's really not much holding it in except for these sort of spring-loaded clips here. So that's pretty much it. So I saw a couple of videos where guys twisted it out. I'm not sure if you twist it out or in and how it actually goes in and out, but we'll check it out and find out. Now, there's no instructions in the box here, unfortunately, because they're expecting probably most people to have the dealer do it and, you know, pay the labor charge. Of course, I'm not going to do that because there's no sense in having the dealer do it when I can do it and save on the labor charge. But we'll have to go we'll look in the owner's manual first to see if it's in there. If not, we'll have to probably search online or maybe just go to the dealer and ask them how do you program it to your garage door opener, because I can't remember how you did it, but on the BMW that I had, but I think you had to hold down 2 buttons while it went into learning mode, and then you had to go over to your garage door opener and press a button on that. So there was a sequence of events that you had to do to actually get it to program, but once you did it, then you were set. So we'll have to find out how to do that. But first, what we need to do is just get the mirror installed. So let's start that. All right, so here we're in the car. Basically, we got to get this trim piece off here to get to the mirror, and I think it'll just twist off from there. This trim piece, you can see here, has a seam going right down the center of it, and the way it works is it's just 2 halves that are just sort of snapped together with some tabs. Alright, so I got as you can see here, I got the 1 half off, and the way they have this is, it actually, if I show you this here, there's actually a little, I don't know if you can see that, but there's actually a little lip there. So it's like a shiplap joint where it sort of overlaps, like this little edge. Let me get it right here. Like this little edge right here overlaps this on here. So you can't really get a screwdriver in there, but you can see where the actual sort of clips are right there. So what I did is instead, because I couldn't get anything in there without chewing up the plastic, I would have chewed it all up. I even tried a putty knife here that's really thin, didn't work, right? You can't get in there because you can't actually get between the 2 pieces of plastic to pry them apart. So what I did was instead from this side through the hole right here where the stem goes through. All I did was I took a very thin screwdriver, placed it against pushed it in the hole and placed it against the one half of the shell, and just gave it a little tap with a hammer and it popped right off. So don't struggle with it, just get a very thin bladed screwdriver, push it in the hole till it bottoms out against the one side, and just give it two little taps with the hammer and it'll come right out. And you can see right here on the actual piece, I'm looking at it, that it's got a little sort of a hook right there, and over there's two hooks, right? And there's a little tab right here. Nothing looks broken, so everything looks intact on here. And if I pull this other one off on the other side here, somehow it's attached to the top here. Let me see how that's attached here, because at the top it's attached somehow. So this thing right here, looks like it slides in, or something slides in there. Looks like it's a little, it has actually a little spring-loaded thing there. So actually, if we look from this side, we might be able to see it maybe. I don't know. No, it just goes into these, I don't know if you can see it here in the video here, but it goes into this hole. So it just pops out basically. So if I do the same thing, I tap it from the other side, it'll pop right off. So let me do that. All right, so let me put a flashlight on here so you can see this a little better. So you can see there's the little hole right here that tab slides into. So they just pop in there, and it'd be the same thing on the other side. So I just need to pop that out, and that's what holds the top part in. And then the two halves just use these two tabs right here to hold them together. And there's actually a tab right back here at the top. Let me push this mirror out of the way here. It's right here. Right there. So you can see there's one there, and then you got the two tabs here, and that's what holds the two halves together, and then the top part is held in this slot here. So you basically got four areas that hold it together. So if you just tap it through the hole from one side, like I did, that should take care of your problem. So like for this side, right, if I put my screwdriver here and just tap it, it'll push it out the other side. So let me get that off and then we'll continue on. Okay, so here they are, the two halves basically, and you can see here the way they just sort of snap together. I put them together here, so you can kind of see, get the flashlight in here. There's a tab up the top here, there's a next tab, and then there's this third tab on the back here that hold the two halves together. And then these two little things at the top here, which sort of have a plastic spring-loaded clip, go into those holes that you saw in the other part. So yeah, just do yourself a favor, put a screwdriver through the main hole here. Just put a screwdriver, like when this is on the car. Yeah, hard to hold here. But basically when these two are together, like so, just put a hole through the screwdriver and go on one side, just tap it out, and do the same thing for the other side, tap it out, and it'll come right apart. No problem and no damage, so you're all set there. Alright, so now we have the trim off here, and you can see the mirror is just mounted up there, just like we saw in the part I showed you out of the box. So now we should be able to just, I think, twist it off and it should come right out. So it's just spring loaded in there. And I'm not seeing anything special. I can see the little clips right there, so we should be able to twist it off and we'll see what happens. So let me go try that and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it took it just a little bit of force. You think you're going to break it, but you know, do yourself a favor and just you want to turn it counterclockwise, and then you put your hand on this part of it, the actual metal base. Don't use the mirror because you could, you know, crack this portion of it here, and it'll go. And then it did, I heard it sort of unclick, and now it's sort of loose in the base here, in which I can just pull it out. And there it is right there. So you just have the one connector. just like you saw on the part that I showed you before. So now you just have to disconnect this connector and do the reverse order, put it back in. So let me disconnect this and then we'll look at the part. Okay, so here's our mirror side by side. So on the left here is the new Homelink mirror, on the right is the original one, and you can see actually if you look at the top here, the Homelink one is actually much thicker than the one that came originally with the car. The mounts pretty much look identical between the two of them, so if we put them side by side here, the mounts look exactly the same, which is a good thing, otherwise obviously it wouldn't fit. But as far as the thickness of the mirrors, their Homelink one is definitely larger. And then if we put the mirrors like actually up against each other, the Homelink one is actually a little bit bigger too. The mirror glass is from top to bottom, it's a hair bigger, and it's a little bit longer too. So the Homelink mirror is actually a little bit bigger. I'm not sure if it's because of the they got to accommodate the buttons and the transmitter and everything in the back there, so they had to make it bigger, but that's the difference there. On the back of the mirror, both have the sensor, although they're sort of a different shape and everything, so, but this is the sensor for the autochromatic mirrors. So dims the mirrors based on light coming in the front and the back of the car. So, but that is the two differences between the mirrors. So they don't look 100% identical to each other. They're a little bit different, but I did confirm that this is the one for the car. It is the one. There's two different models basically that they've done for 2018 and 19, and that is you either have rain sensing wipers, lane assist, etc., or you don't. And so if you have them, you have to get this one. If you don't, then there's another model that you have to get that has actually wiring you have to do. So, all right, so that's it. So should be able to basically just snap this back in and then plug it in, and that should be it. Okay, let's talk about the mirror just for a couple seconds here, because there's some confusion about these mirrors and, you know, which one you get for your car, etc. So just to clear up all confusion, these mirrors, the only thing the mirrors contain is this sensor on the back, which is used for the auto dimming function. This sensor is not used for lane departure, it's not used for rain sensing, it's not used for any of that. This is only for the auto dimming, so the light coming through the front of the windshield, and then on the mirror itself, right at the top behind the glass, there's a sensor for the light coming in from the rear of the car. Okay, that's the two main things. The new mirror also has a compass in the right hand side here that you can turn on and off if you like, so that's an additional feature. And of course the new mirror will have the buttons on the bottom here for Homelink. This is the old mirror. The thing I want you to understand is that when you look at these mirrors, these mounts are identical, everything looks the same, but if you actually looked at the pin configuration inside the connector itself, you would see on the old mirror there's actually 4 pins in here, 3 on the top, and then there's 1 on the bottom that's in 1 notch. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then at the bottom there's a space and then the next pin. But when you get your new one, you'll notice that they don't line up anymore. At the top there's just going to be 2 pins, and the bottom pin is not even lining up because it's actually over another notch. And again, the reason for that is because cars with and without rain sensor and the lane assist use a different wiring harness, and so the power that Volkswagen uses to get to this mirror is just on a different wire. So that's why these are sort of like switched around a little bit from what you see on the original. So again, if you're on a 2018, you know, Golf R, this is the correct part number, and the connector will still fit exactly the same inside here. It's just the pin configuration is not the same. And it has nothing to do with rain, as far as like the operation of rain sensing wipers or the lane assist or anything. It has to do with the fact that they're using the wiring harness coming off of those units in the car to connect to this for its power. So really the only thing this needs for itself, because everything's self-contained in this mirror, is just the power for the dimming, and then the compass, and of course the Homelink. Okay, so that's the difference between these mirrors. The rain sensing sensor is on the windshield itself, and so is the camera for the lane assist, and that's all attached to the actual windshield itself, which I'll actually show you in a second since we have the trim panels off. But the other mirror, the one that you would get if you didn't have rain sensing or those things, would actually come with a whole harness, a wiring harness that you would have to wire up so that this would be powered correctly. And that's the main difference between the two. The one has the harness, the one doesn't have the harness on it. So just a little clear up some confusion on that, which, you know, people always think it's all in the mirror, and there's very little in the mirror itself. The mirror is just the dimming part, the compass, and the Homelink on the new one. Let's quickly look at these trim panels. So this is the big trim panel that's actually covering the camera and the rain sensor, and this down here is where the mirror goes in when you attach it. So I wanted to take this off so we could see what's underneath there. And this just snaps on. There's a whole bunch of little tabs right here on the back of it. And then on the front, it just has two hooks that hook into the bracket on the windshield. Okay, so you can't disconnect it from the front. You'll break these if you try to do it. You have to disconnect it from the back, and then it just sort of pulls down, then you pull it out, and then it's released. And that's how you get this piece off. Okay, and the easiest way to get this piece off, rather than chewing up this edge right here with a trim tool or whatever, is to pull out the map lights, you know, that the reading lights they have in the front upper console right behind the sunglass holder. You can just quickly get your hand, if you open the sunglass holder up, you can get your hand in there and just pull it right down. It pops right out, and then once you have that popped out, then you'll see this edge that you can just get a trim tool and pop these out without breaking this. So take out the light. So open up your sunglass holder first, pull down the light panel, and then you'll see this whole edge where you just pop this out with a trim tool, and it'll come right out without breaking anything. And don't forget, this is where the little covers go on here for the two sides for the like that, and like, let's see, like this here for the cover of the stem of the mirror, right? And they just snap together. And that's how those pieces come off, just so you can see kind of how they work. All right, so here we have our new mirror on the car right here. Got fingerprints all over it, I'll clean it up. But we did get it powered up. The compass came on. We got you can see our Homelink buttons on the bottom here. So we got them all programmed to the garage door opener. And again, it just plugs in with that one connector right there. But just wanted to show you why we have this open. I have this trim panel off here. You can see there is the camera. So that's the camera that's used for the lane assist, etc. And then right in front here, right under, actually underneath this, where the mirror mounts here, is the rain sensing module, which is directly underneath here. Oop, let me show you. Sorry about that. So right underneath this big silver thing right here, attached to the windshield, is the rain sensing module, which is actually very small. But that's where it's attached. But you can see all the harnesses come down here, and they're all linked into these modules right here, which is why there's a separate mirror part number for the ones with and without rain sensor, etc. So there's this right here, where this light's sort of pointing right here, is this little hook that the trim panel hooks into, I was referring to before. So that's pretty much what's there. But what I really want to point out is taking this mirror on and off is just a simple twist. You can kind of see, let me push this aside here. Right there, you can see the black sort of tab right there, and right now it's pushed all the way to the right because I twisted it to the right, and it's in its locked position. But you can see where there's sort of a little bit of a mark there to the left of the tab, and that is where when you twist it to the left, then that little area is a little lower and it releases the mirror. So you're really talking about 1/8 of a turn. A lot of people are trying to twist this thing a 1/4 turn. It's not that much. You're just putting it up in the slot and it'll fit in perfectly. You shouldn't have to force it. And then you just twist it 1/8 of a turn, barely, and you'll hear it. It'll almost sound like you're scratching you know, a rock across your paint or something. It's a you know, because the metal tab is so tight against the plastic piece, but it'll lock right in place, and that's it. And you'll know you're in the right position when your connector, you can see here, is perfectly perpendicular, right? It's straight up and down here. It's not twisted to left and right, so that's why you know it's in the right position. And you should be able to get the cover on, the trim panels on, once you have the mirrors on. So it's a lot easier to see what you're doing and to make sure it's in correctly if you actually take the trim panels off, and then they actually will go on after the fact, I think. If because the front is open, it has a notch in it, so it should slip right in. So let me go grab those and just verify that real quick, and then we'll confirm that. Okay, so I did get the trim piece here, okay, and I tried to put it in, and there's not quite enough room to clear it with the mirror on it. So yeah, you do have to have the mirror off to actually put that trim piece back on, the big piece. So that's what makes it a little bit difficult, because you can't see exactly where these little tabs are here, so you can make sure that you're in the right position. But this is still pretty much open once you have the little side covers off, and you should be able to confirm that it's locked in. And your main thing is you're just looking to make sure that tab is basically, after you twist it about 1/8 of a turn, it's bottom out against this edge right here, right before this clip. Right? And there's one of these all the way around, 4 of them. So again, don't try to turn it 1/4 of a turn. It's just a little bit, and it's completely locked in place, and you'll feel it. It's really tight and tough. But don't jerk it. Just use firm pressure, and put your hand on this die cast mount here. Don't use the mirror to twist it. Use the mount so you don't break the mirror off the mount. Okay, just put your hand around this piece right here that I have lit, and then twist it. And then once you do that, it'll come into place, and that's pretty much it. And you're set to go. Okay, so there's our finished installed mirror. We got all our trim pieces back on. Everything's all good. Let's turn on the car. You can see when I turn on the car, we get a white symbol here for the direction. So again, that's going to match your nav system that you have. So whatever your nav's saying should match this. And then you can see the Homelink buttons, and I'm just going to push one here, and there's a little icon that actually comes up when you do that. So when I push this button, you'll see. And you see a little green, and actually the garage door is opening right now in the back here. You can see it coming up there. And then same thing, if you hit the button again, and I can, because I programmed all 3 of these the same, doesn't matter which one I hit, but you can see the little Homelink icon flashes inside the mirror there, and you're good to go. And I did test the mirror. I actually took a little flashlight and I pointed it at the mirror, and the mirror got darker, and so the auto dimming feature still works, so that's all good there. So everything's good. So final installation completed. Alright, the last thing to finish up our Homelink installation is the actual programming of the unit itself. Now, this document, which is a VW document, does not come with the mirror. So of course you're going to go to parts. If you buy it at your dealer, you buy the mirror, you'll get home, and then you'll find out there's no instructions in the box. So this is something the dealer actually has to remember to print out for you. Probably because most people just get the dealer to install it. But again, it's like $200–250 in labor to install it, which took only a couple minutes. So, but this tells you a couple things on here. First of all, because this mirror does have a compass display, you can either turn the compass display on and off if you don't want to see the compass, or you can also calibrate your compass. So when you first get it and you install it, you're going to see a big C on the compass, which means calibrate. And if you just drive it around in a circle, it will calibrate itself. Now, if your calibration is off a little bit, and you can tell by your if you look on the Golf R's in your navigation display to see what the compass says against the compass on the mirror, if they don't match, then you know you're off. And they do have this little chart here, depending where you are in North America, to set a number for the variance. So using a paper clip, they walk you through the process of how to switch it from basically all these different numbers here, wherever you're located. So for me, it'd be 11 if my variance was off. But the compass was actually not off. It matched the navigation the same, so I didn't have to do anything. And it, again, after driving it just a little bit, it auto-calibrated, so that was okay. But you can turn it off if you don't want to see it in the display of the mirror. And then the next page talks about programming your Homelink. And for the most part, it was pretty accurate, although it was a little different because I had a rolling code garage door opener, which most are today. So you can also go onto the Homelink website. I just went to homelink.com and put in your actual car and your door opener model, and it will actually give you more specific instructions for that particular combination. And so this one was a little bit better in explaining how to set up the rolling code, training the Homelink for the rolling code garage door openers, instead of the old type where you just had dip switches that you set a certain code to. So but it does work, and I actually programmed all 3 of the buttons for the garage door. That way I don't have to even remember which one to push. Because I only have one garage, so I just set them all to the same thing, and no matter which one I push, it opens and closes the garage door. So again, works perfect. So don't forget to ask them for the instructions when you're there, because the compass portion is not in the Homelink, because that's obviously not what Homelink is. Homelink's the buttons for controlling the doors and your lights and stuff, not the compass portion, which is the VW only part. So make sure you get your instructions when you're at the dealer. Other than that, I think that's it. The mirror went in without a hitch. Works perfectly. I got my garage door program now to the Homelink. It's a shame that it didn't come with the car, but as I said earlier, none of the Volkswagens, All-Tracks, Passats, whatever, none of them come with Homelink. This is considered, as you can see here, an accessory by VW. So it's just their way of sort of making a little money. But that's just the way it is. So I got another one of those sort of little deficiencies that I was noting on my Golf R review. Another one's solved now. So now I got Homelink back, and don't have to worry about having a garage door opener inside my car that somebody could break into the car and then open my garage door and get into my house or anything like that. So we're all set. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or need a link to any of these instructions, you can always just send me a message in the YouTube chat window, and I can always send them to you if needed. Peace.